to viewers once again. Welcome to the operation. This is free as a channel. Thank you for the subscription to the last production you made and also your questions as you asked. When I want to tell you that this is the only channel that is focused in bringing to you the different design of frame system and different components you need. In the last production, I explained different components on how you can design a frame generator. I mentioned about the motor, I talk about the electric motor, the generator, the joint and others. But today I'm going to also go in details on how to run a frame generator for 24 hours non-stopping. Many people think it's impossible for you to run a frame generator without like long hours. Some people have asked, how long does this energy generator last during your operation? And that is why I had to bring this production for you to learn. You see, the way the frame generator is designed is meant to run as long as possible. You can run it in 24 hours, 7 days in a week, or even 30 days in a month, not stopping, as long as you have what it takes for you to contain it. Just like owning a ceiling fan. You know, the ceiling fan can run as long as possible because it does not need to have an induction system. So as long as the supply, it will always run as long as possible. And that is why today this production is very important, because many of you want to know how you can keep your frame generator running as long as possible. And that is why I want to tell you. But I don't want to go back to what we discussed last week, because last week I talked about the different components, the 4 components you need during frame generator design. And I just want to do a review. I talk about the motor, which is number 1 here. This is the motor here. I talk about the electric motor. I talk about the generator, which is number 1. And I talk about the electric motor, which is number 2, the flywheel and the base. And we all know about all these things, so I don't need to go by it because of our time. Because the motor, generator, I told you about it, is how there's a wand that does the generation of the electricity. Then the motor is the engine room that does the turning process of the generator, and then the flywheel, which is the joint, and then the base. All this make the components of the frame generator if you want to design. But today I'm going back to what we're going to talk about today, and that is about frame generator has the capacity to run for more than 24 hours, 7 days a week and 30 days a month, not stopping. And if only you keep to the rules. You see, the rules of running the generator is very, very important. The reason why some people have issue in running this frame generator if a run distance is because they don't know the rules. The rules you must keep in the constitution. If you want to run the generator, you must keep to the rules. You must be able to observe the things you do to enable your generator to run in a very long distance. Right? So now, why is it possible for you to run a frame generator? What makes it possible for you to run this energy generator for a long time? Because many will say it's not possible. I don't think it's possible for you to run a frame generator for a long time. It's because it may burn, it may fault. But I want to tell you that it's very, very possible, and it is possible, and it's done. It is done, it's proven, and it's working. So one of the things you need to know is that the frame generator makes use of an inductive system, which means this is a process that has to do with a coil system. And you know, when something I talk about inductive system, it means it receives electricity, and through electricity it turns. It's not like an engine that has to do with fuel, and you have to put the fuel, or you put engine oil or water or gas to make it run, and if the gas runs away, that's the end. But that is not applicable in a frame generator. Frame generator is in the system. As long as there's a supply of electricity in the system, it keeps running. So the process of keeping the generator run for a long distance is determined by the person who designed the system, who is the owner of the system. That is number 1. Number 2, it makes up of copper wires. You know, why did this process run? What make it possible? What will make it possible? You know, this energy system is made of copper wire. The copper wire is not something that uses fuel. It's as long as the wires are okay, are in good condition, it's not aluminium system that is used, it will burn. It will continue to give you the required time of power supply. Then number 3, it does not require fuel. There's another area, there's no fuel supply, so there's no point in which you say, okay, the generator has run down because there's no fuel supply. As long as the generator is running, it's also generating a supply system to the motor, which is the supply. So it means you run a rotational system, receive from the motor through the pushing system and the turning system, and supply to the generator, and the generator now return back to him the voltage needed to run. So this circular process make it possible for the system to run for a very long time without interruption. Then number 3 is number 4 is that it's a noiseless system. You see, sometimes a system that has noise has a way of developing a fault, because the noise alone can also cause noise alone is the agent to the system. So, but this system is noiseless, so which means you can run it without noise. Then it has an in-built cooling fan. Very important. The in-built cooling fan is the system that make the coil not to burn. Most of the generators has an in-built cooling fan, something of this nature on it. And so as the thing is rotating, the fan also is supplying it with the cooling or the air that needs to keep the coil cool. Because when the coil is overheated, definitely it will burn, and that will not make the system to shut down. But with the cooling system that is inside, the more work it does, the more the system keep the coil in a cool condition, the wire in a cool condition that enable to continue to run. So that's it. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about now is the area of how can you do this possible? How will you make this different generator to run for a long distance, a long time without issue? The first thing we're going to talk about in this presentation today, we're going to talk about how you must use a new system. For instance, using a new system involves using a new generator. I've observed that most of my subscribers, most of them, not all, when they want to design a system, they're going to normally use they're going for a old system and use the design. When yes, the old system, it will work definitely, but it may not have the capacity to run the period at which you expect it to run. If you assume you want to run a system that can take you about 24 hours with load, you need a new brand system, so that the loading process will not overweight the system output, which as well can be sent to develop fault. So that is where I always recommend go for a new one, because the new system you are sure that it's directly from the market and there's no fault. Because by buying the old one from somebody, you don't know where the system already developed for before the person gives to you. And when you start using the system for some time, you start seeing that you see manifesting some different fault, which discourage and also make a process of energy system of no avail. So it's always very important for you to go in. So today we are doing about going for a new system. If you want your system to run for a long distance, for a long period of time, you must always buy a new system, buy a new generator, buy a new electromotor, and then use it to run. And you see the system will produce what you want. Now, I believe next presentation we're going to look at that point, which is very important, but I want you to take a look at this system and see how it works now.
Tata